Hey guys, Uncle Pip here, and welcome to Munich, Germany. I told you I had a lot of stuff coming in December, and I wasn't lying. Earlier video you saw me landing in Iceland. I left Iceland, I came here, and you're gonna see me go through Munich here on Friday. Staying through for Saturday, Sunday, and I'll leave on Monday. And I'm going to different places throughout each. So I hope you enjoy watching it. Stay tuned for more.
Our trip really starts here at the former site of the Bürgerbrau Keller. Now today it is a music copyright office for the German government, which is why there's musical instruments and stuff like that, a Christmas tree. But in 1923, the Bürgerbrau Keller stood here. And that was a beer hall, and this is the beer hall that the Nazis left from when they started their beer hall push. And we are now, 100 years later, going to retrace those steps that they took. Now the reason that plaque was there, that we were looking at, was not to honor the fact that this is where the Bürgerbrau Keller was. It's also where a man tried to kill Hitler later in the 1930s or 40s, and it became a big deal. So now we're walking towards the Isar River, and we're about to cross over a bridge. And there's a building out in the distance, you can kind of see it right in the middle of the camera. It has World War II German eagles still in the corners of that building. And this is the original bridge that the Nazis had crossed, and this is the Isar River that we're currently looking at. While we were here, there was some road work or something like that, so that's why we're not on the bridge. We're actually on a temporary span. Now going back to this building with these eagles, today that is now a museum. And I think that's kind of interesting that that museum is part of history, and it honors history. Now, of course, we didn't go in there. That would have taken too much time, and we didn't have a lot of time. But here we are. We are now heading towards the old city gates. Munich is an old town in Germany, just like most towns in Germany. And back in like the real old times, it was a walled city. And this is the original gates to get into the original town of Munich. And what I learned recently is that I believe Munich today is the largest city in Germany. Of course, that wasn't always the case, and it has expanded outside of the original city walls, as you can see here. But now as we cross over, we are now in the old town of Munich. And a lot of these buildings were destroyed during World War II. And most of it was rebuilt to look old, but a lot of this is not original. And I think whoever decided to try to keep that original architecture was very smart. Now on our way, we're going to stop and get a bite to eat at a place called Schneider's Brauhaus. And I was just super hungry, and I was told this is a good place to go, so that's why we stopped. But this is still the same route that the Germans, or the Nazis, had taken. And here is my Brauhaus right here. And once we finished eating, we came out, and the bells started ringing, and I'll let you listen to some of that here in a second. I thought it was pretty cool.
It just sounds like chaos. I love it.
Yeah. I think we should go first to the Feldherrnhalle.
Yeah,
And
I
not
agree.
to the Christmas market.
Yeah, that sounds
Because
good.
we have daylight now.
Yep.
And it is
Now we're walking into the Marienplatz, And this is during Christmas season, so we're at the Christkindlmarkt in Munich. And this is my first Christmas market. I thought it was really cool. And here in front of this church, there is a small area with some stairs. I saw an original picture of an American Jeep in the beginning of May of 1945, and that Jeep was literally parked right here. I thought that was pretty neat, that I was able to go to that exact spot where I saw that Jeep. Now we are still continuing on our way, and the next stop for us here is what is known today as the Schurker's Alley, and or German would be Druckenberger Gasse. And you'll see the bronze overlay kind of on the ground here. I'll explain that here in a minute, but this history is very eye-opening. This alley connects to the side street there straight ahead, and it was an escape way so you wouldn't have to cross where we're going right now. This spot right here is where the police lineup was in 1923. The Nazis and the German government had an exchange of fire, and ultimately 16 Nazis were killed here at this spot. 4 police officers were killed here. Now, because of that, later Hitler ended up getting arrested. That was not the overthrow of the government. This monument or plaque right here honors the 4 police officers that were killed there. But going back to that spot right here, that was where it all happened. There was a plaque set up during the Nazi rule, and they said that they had to salute anytime they went by that monument, and that's why people went past it in that alley that I showed you earlier. Now this monument here is an eternal flame to help honor all victims of National Socialism. So even today we have ways to honor those that were victimized by the Nazi government. Now we're coming into Carolinnenplatz, and if I am not mistaken, there's a lot of real old history in here from like the Napoleon times, and I believe it was somewhere like late 1700s, early 1800s. This was actually made out of old gun barrels. Just do some more research. I do World War II stuff. That was way too before me, but it was pretty cool history. And a lot of these buildings here, of course, were all destroyed and rebuilt. And the one up here on the right is current museum for the town of Munich to show people what Munich looked like during World War II. So that's kind of neat. But the next big place that we're heading towards is the Temples of Honor. And there was 2 of them. This building I'll talk about later. I actually found out that I was on the back side of it, and I do walk around and show you the front here later. But where we're heading is these Temples of Honor. Of course, they were destroyed after World War II, just like everything else. But there's 2 of them right here. That building in the background right here was the Führerbräu, and there was a temple, and over here is a temple, and there's another administration building behind it. Now these temples, each of them held 8 tombs. So there was your 16 of those Nazis that were killed during the beer hall putsch, and this was like a really big deal to the Nazi party. And of course I had to get a handle on things. After the war, those bodies were exhumed and moved, and then the temples were destroyed. And now we're heading into the actual Königsplatz. And this area here has just a lot of history to it before the Nazis. The Nazis did not build this. This is something that they just took over and made it their own. And they added to it, and quite frankly, it's quite amazing. This building here is the administration building that I was telling you about earlier. You saw the back side of it as I was walking up to the temples of honor. And it was an administration building during the Third Reich, and it was completed, I believe, in 42. And now these buildings here, some of them are the National and International Reich Press Office, and the Youth Leadership Office. And this building is the Bavarian State Tax Office. All of these buildings, of course, were Third Reich. This is all Nazi. You can see the eagle holding the swastika on the building. They denazified it by taking the swastika off. But all of these buildings here were a part of history. And that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And stay tuned for more. We got plenty of video. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you next time.